Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the PHNX Rising Show, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. I'm Ramon Chavez here with Mr. Owen Evans. How you doing, sir? Where are you at? You look
I'm in Louisville. I made the trip over, and I'm tired now because the flight was at 5:40 this morning. So
Jesus. These sweats are
I keep telling myself, don't take the dumb early in the morning flight. And what do I do every time? I take the flight that's at some stupid hour in the morning.
Are you more of a red eye kind of guy, or do you want the early one? And like, what are your thoughts there?
I just make bad decisions when it comes to booking times of flights. That's what it comes down to ultimately. Like,
Yeah, no. Well, whatever flight you pick nowadays is pretty much guaranteed to be a little later, whatever. So
yeah, you
hopefully,
just take the dice, give them a roll, and see if you're going to get to the other end.
exactly. Yeah, shout out to Reese here, Michael. Let's see, we got Harry here, Pat, Bonnie. How you doing, Bonnie? Happy Monday. Pat as well with flights nowadays. Early the better, nothing but delays. That's right. That's right. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. We got a great show for you guys today. We got the new vinyl here. You guys let me know who's that. And of course, we got the PHNX Rising scarf. But yeah, we have a great show for you guys today on a Monday. This is weird. I'm so tired. I usually kick in on Tuesdays. But anyway, we're here on a Monday. Of course, we got the midweek game between Phoenix Rising and Louisville City. So we're going to talk about that, of course. We're also going to, definitely break down the game, review what happened this weekend in the USL, especially talk about Louisville facing off against Memphis. That was an interesting game. And we did get some comments today, Owen, from the club governor, Bill Krause, regarding Wild Horse Pass, Rick Schantz, and maybe some reinforcements. Maybe we'll talk about that later on. But Owen, let's go ahead and just jump into it. The USL Summer Showcase. For people that are unaware, can you talk to us about that and why is it a big deal? Why is it important?
It's not. Okay, no, I'll take it seriously. It's important for, I think, people like us in terms of scrutinizing things that the league are doing. The league have their media meetings here, and it gives us an opportunity to come out and, all the league people are effectively here in one place for a few days. So just for anyone who's interested, make sure to follow along closely with our PHNX Rising coverage. There's going to be some extra coverage this week beyond what you usually see, possibly some extra audio podcasts. So if you haven't subscribed on Spotify or iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever you use, go ahead, subscribe.
Do it. Owen's gonna bring some prime content for you guys this week. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that on all the streaming services. Some very interesting guests Owen's going to have this week. So you definitely want to tune in for that. And again, those are audio only, right, Owen?
That's the plan at the moment. Yes, there's a couple of audio interviews that may be lined up for tomorrow. And remember, you got to be following us. You got to be subscribed on Spotify, Apple Podcasts to hear those first.
For sure. All right, Owen. So, before we talk about the game, what other
hold on. Actually, can we? I think we've just got to take a slight diversion here, just based off of something that Harry just said.
Okay, Harry, what'd you do?
I'm hopping in. We're talking about USL stuff later, but maybe we've got to move it now. Because by the looks of things, Colorado Springs have just named a lineup that features only one player on the bench.
I mean, did they play 3 days ago?
They put a statement out earlier that was like, we've been impacted by injuries, by illness. We're fighting through all of this. Look, here's one thing I will say on this topic. When this came up back when Rising was going away to New Mexico, and obviously I got the chance to speak about this with the league senior vice president for communications, Will Coons, and he said that typically the kind of borderline they look for as a league is that you've got to have 12 players, of which one must be a goalkeeper. And if you go below that point, the league will look to postpone. Now, there's a really good argument for the fact that, quite frankly, at 12 players, you still, to be honest, it's making a mockery of the game somewhat.
Yeah. Good. I mean, it's that's interesting. I don't think I've seen that one before. I mean, I've seen the NBA where they have like 6 players. Like I've seen like that situation, but never in a professional soccer match. Yeah. I mean, Thomas is making a good point. Los Niños Héroes, should they bring in they didn't have any academy kids willing to jump in for a little bit or something like that. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on
It's an
that.
away game as well. It's tough. It's
It
I
probably
don't
didn't know
know.
until a few hours ago. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Owen, let's talk about what's going on this week on Wednesday. So when this announcement came out, a few months ago, USL Summer Showcase, right? This happened all before what's going on with Rising, obviously. But I was kind of interested just to see if there were going to be any big announcements. There have been some rumblings about new cities being added, and they were, but to the lower divisions. But can fans expect any announcements like in that magnitude? I'd say of like, we're adding the city, or there's these changes coming up, or anything kind of like that. Is this what fans should kind of keep an eye on?
I'm not sure I'd expect it. Now, again, just to kind of, it's a bit of self-promotion here. Again, pay attention because we're speaking with some people that are going to be, fairly important people in the league. So you do want to have a listen to that and see what they have to say. But yeah, I'm not sure that I'm expecting the league to have any big announcements. Of course, last
Mhm.
week there were the big ones in terms of 2 expansion teams. You had from League One, you had Santa Barbara in the Championship and the Super League. Of course, the first team we've really heard that's by the sound of things entering the Super League in terms of the team that's going to be created now in New Orleans. It's I'm not certain at all that we'll really see any big announcements this week. It's one of those ones where I'm almost half expecting to have when you get the email in and it's like the new official washing machine partner of
Yeah,
USL, like
and you're like, oh,
that's
great.
the kind of yeah. Yeah. Well, there's like some really weird ones. If I went back through my inbox, I'd find some very weird USL partners.
Yeah. But yeah, no, these are always interesting, because I think either Pat was saying in here on the chat, but I know it's all marketing, but I feel like it's always good to kind of have these games or branded in this manner just to kind of get more eyeballs on the product. There's people that might have heard of USL or might have never even heard of another league besides MLS, and seeing that on ESPN2 on a Wednesday during the time of the year where there's not a lot of sports going on. I think it's interesting, and it's an opportunity for them to get new fans. So should be fun. We'll see.
Can we talk about? Sorry, I hate the fact that we're going back
Go
to
for it. I see the chat.
going
Yeah.
back to San Diego. The chat is going off here. I just opened up the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Good
Mhm.
friends, of course, the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and San Diego at the moment are minus 105.
Oh,
That's against a team that's only able to name one substitute.
it should be a little
Come on,
higher.
chat. Go. Throw your money on there. Come on.
Yeah,
It's
keep us updated. And even Pat says Football Manager won't even let you start a match with 12 players. So I don't know what's going on there. Always fun in the USL. All right, Owen, let's get through this preview. Okay,
we're gonna
so
get there. We're gonna get to the actual content at some point.
all
We're
right.
gonna stop kind of meandering elsewhere.
All right. Let's stay focused here. But yeah, Louisville, what else can you say about Louisville that we haven't said already? Rising did face them in the preseason. We're all looking forward to that right now. They have 42 points, 19 games played, cream of the crop of the USL. I'd say they'd made the conference championship in their division every single year of their existence. It's no wonder why they were chosen to host the USL Summer Showcase. So what can fans expect, and does Rising have any chance against them on Wednesday? I don't like that.
That's just a nervous laugh. I personally, right now, I'm writing off Wednesday. I feel as though Rising has no hope. The only
Mm,
question is by how many.
mm,
I don't think that any of us are expecting Phoenix Rising to pull a result out, and that's the sad thing. Really, is it's not for lack of talent. We know that the players as individuals are all capable of it, but for whatever reason, it's just complete and utter lack of cohesiveness, a
mm,
complete and utter lack of tactics almost at times, and the way that you look at it, right? This is seriously, look at any game, look at the way, if you break it down, you see all time and time again, the tactics don't work, regardless of what's being said. Okay, there might be flashes of it, but just over the course of an entire performance, they never really pan out. I think part of it is because they don't really know quite what they're doing. I don't think they quite know what's being expected of them at times. And for a lot of people will say, well, the players then are letting people down. Well, I think they realize that. I think they do realize that in the second half. That's why we see in the second half, typically, you get that moment where they're a couple of goals down and they just throw the kitchen sink at everything. Like, it looks like that kind of performance when you're 5-10 minutes to play and you're just fighting for a goal. Of course, you can't really sustain that for 30 minutes, which is why they concede more normally. And it's not enough because but they do get things done in that, 10 minutes or so of kitchen sink when they seem to find a goal or two.
Yeah, no, that's one of the, I mean, we've talked about this numerous times, so I won't dive into it too deep, but it's one of the frustrating things about seeing Rising, the amount of talent that's there, and the fact that, we know what they can do. It's just a matter of putting it on the field and displaying it. During their last 10 matches, Rising, 1 win, 1 draw, 8 losses. That's not a good record to have heading into a game of this magnitude. It is the inaugural one. And, honestly, I don't know how much the branding really matters to fans, especially of USL Championship, but I think it matters in the context that Rising was chosen for a reason for this game. And they've been a really great team for a very long time. And this was alluded to one of the comments that Bill Cross had earlier today. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm trying to phrase this correctly, but what does it say about the league choosing Rising to be in this game? Is this obviously it's a positive, but what else does it say about the team?
I think what it says is exactly what we all have expected here, which is that the expectations are effectively this team should be battling for a championship each and every season. And yet there's just this massive gulf between that and the performances. It's just I don't know. I mean, we'll go on to this again, as you said later, but there's a part of me that just wonders where in the world, seriously now, tell me, where in the world would you see the gulf between the expectations and the performance that we are currently seeing with Phoenix Rising and not see some real heavy and frankly probably public soul searching by this point because something is going very seriously wrong to have that kind of a gulf. It's not underachieving. It's like, getting a saw out and cutting the hole in the floor like the cartoon characters, right? Then all of a sudden they just drop. Okay, that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah. No, and I think the rest of the league agrees that it's they. The more I read these like power rankings and these write-ups, it's like, obviously defense is a huge part of what's going on, but the offensive stats, the shots, the underperforming, displays that we see from the offensive side as well. It's just it can't be explained. Like these guys have a repertoire and have a resume of being one of the best in the league, and for that team, for Rising to fall that much, it's just basically unexplainable. It's like, and the more it goes on, the more you kind of just shrug your shoulders and say, what the heck is going on with this team?
I mean, look, as Harry put in here, I feel like at the start of the season, when 2 of the games that were announced, Rising's 2 nationally televised games were announced, and it was Tampa Bay and it was Louisville. And I think that every reasonable USL Championship fan is looking at those games at the start of the season and saying they're 2 legitimate potential finals. That's what you were being given. You were being given 2 legitimate potential finals as previews. And now, I mean, that's completely out the window.
I mean, when we saw this, it's like, 2018 rematch. That's what it says on their website. That's what you were expecting, that the 2 best teams out of either conference to face each other in the middle of the season and kind of give you a preview of what was supposed to come. And now we're kind of like, well, maybe one team is going to do it, but I don't know about the other one. So, yeah, definitely. Owen, Amadou Dia, he got a red card against Memphis. That Memphis game, I was just able to catch the highlights. I wasn't able to watch the complete game, but it seemed a little bonkers. Like, can you explain what happened during that game?
Yeah, multiple red cards. I feel as though what happened more than anything is that the players just didn't adjust, and sometimes, as much as certain people will like to complain about that, as much as people have, look, at the end of the day, I don't think that Michael Radchuk was particularly inconsistent with the cards. I think the players just didn't adjust, and I'm sorry. You're a professional player. When you see what he's giving cards for, you've got to learn to adapt to that. We expect players at a much lower level to adapt to that. You know, it's I don't know. And then obviously people start bringing up that, well, there were a lot of red cards in the past. Well, I mean, let's be honest, the 2 red cards in the Orange County Rising game I thought were pretty nailed on red cards. I mean, Trey Muse with the red card in the Memphis game, I feel as though, regardless of what people are saying, right there are different factors at play, but you can't just treat a dogso with a goalkeeper out that far as though it's any other dogso, because there's a major difference in the considerations, which is you have a massive empty net. Now, the question, of course, is, does it come off of Trey Muse's arm or his shoulder? Complicated one, of course. For those of you who don't know, the way that we judge this, it's the base of the armpit. You extend that out. Anything above there is the shoulder. Anything below is the arm. It was tight. It was tight. But yeah, it was a bit of a mad game. But again, I find it amusing that the thing that people focus on is a referee who admittedly called a very tight game. Rather than the fact that
it was going to be an intense game. It's the 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference, arguably at this point, at least. And that's watching the highlights, I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting, a tough game. And it was only 2-1. It wasn't like a crazy amount of goals either. So it kind of tells you, it kind of felt like a playoff atmosphere, if I'm being honest.
But people will say then, oh, the referee ruined the game. You know what I think ruins the game? Having a mound on the pitch. Okay, we don't need a pitching mound on the field of play, right? Let's talk about ruining the game. It's that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, no, I know. When I saw the pitch again, I was like, oh, it's in Memphis. Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be in Louisville, but whatever. But yeah, no, definitely gets in the way. Let's talk about the more players. Again, Amadou Dia, former Rising player. He will not be able to play, at least from what you've heard, right, Owen?
Yeah, so the latest I know, I don't know that they've appealed or successfully appealed or anything along those lines. So as best I can tell, yes, he is suspended for that game. Someone else who has been injured recently, Wilson Harris. It's a bit of a concern for them. Of course, he is their top goal scorer. Wilson Harris went off a couple of weeks ago against Birmingham Legion, kind of a rib issue. So he's got 8 goals on the season, I believe, so far this season. Did a really good job kind of filling in for Brian Ownby early doors. They've got some really good players on that team. And that's kind of where it's hard. It's hard to play. I think they will miss Amadou because of his explosiveness out of the back, even if, as we know, he's not always the best defensively. But I just feel as though there were a lot of moments watching that last game, and especially watching that Memphis game, it was where there were times when Louisville would beat the defense, but they wouldn't quite get to that ball then once they'd gotten it past them. I fear that against a slower rising back line, they will get to more of those balls. They're also a team that are pretty lethal early. They're pretty lethal late. That's not helpful in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, that Memphis plays a really compact defense. So it looked like Louisville was having some issues. They weren't able to play their usual game. So, but against Rising and the way Rising's defense has, bled goals, then yeah, that should be a big, something to look out, basically. Some of the players that I had here to keep an eye out, their goalkeeper, Kyle Morton, in the USL website, basically puts him in the lead for the Golden Glove for the year, 0.58 goals against average. So they do not let in a lot of goals. So their defense is outstanding. I think it's one of the catalysts for the rest of their game plan. So definitely something to look out for that. And then I have a 17-year-old Joshua Winder. So he's broken out this season. He's played for the U.S. National team under, I believe, 20. And so they just got talent everywhere. And we're talking about this off camera before the show, that it's just every, goalkeeper, defense, midfield, forwards, they could just hurt you anywhere.
Yeah, what do you want to point to? Because at the end of the day, there are so many ways that they can get you, and that's the problem. Is that
Yeah.
teams like Louisville have done a fantastic job of repeatedly bringing in people, including younger players. Okay, as you touched on there, and obviously they've done in the past with Jonathan Gomez. They bring in good young players, much like some of the other teams in this league, like El Paso tends to bring in good younger players. Orange County have brought in good younger players in the past. And hey, at the end of the day, you're not stopping a team like that. I don't think not with the way that Rising are playing right now. I mean, it's Somber Monday. But it's every day is Somber Day as long as this run of form continues. There is no happiness anymore. There's only losing 3 points again the next game.
Yeah, no, and like how you were saying earlier, the Memphis game and this game, I was kind of writing off. I was like, I don't expect any points out of these games. I mentioned that the games that are coming up, the Sacramento, Colorado, Oakland, those are the games that I feel like Rising should be able to get some points. I'm not saying 3 points. I'm just saying some points because, yeah, I against this Louisville team, I'm gonna find it very hard.
You mean an Oakland team that just put 4 on El Paso in the first half?
Yeah, not
And
good.
then, in fact, you know what? It was a point where if Sacramento had beaten Birmingham Legion, you'd have been able to say that in the space of 2 days, all 4 of Rising's next opponents had gotten results against teams that Rising were behind on the head-to-head to.
Yeah, that's what I was.
But then Sacramento lost to Legion, so it didn't quite work.
Yeah, no, and that's what this entire weekend I was just like, are they all just gonna win? Like, is this what we were gonna be expecting coming up in these upcoming weeks? But yeah, it's rough. It's rough right now. All right, Owen, let's move on to the final part of this preview. What are you expecting? What's your preview? Can I? I'm sorry. What's your prediction? I mean,
lose
badly or 1-0? Are we looking at a 2-0?
I wouldn't be shocked if we were looking at a 3 or 4 goal loss. I wouldn't be shocked.
Are there
Okay,
odds?
not as of yet. I don't believe
Okay.
the odds aren't up yet, but they will be. They will be tomorrow. I mean, Michael is in here saying 7-0,
0.
which I feel is a bit much. Dooley and Rick Must Go comes in with 5-1, which we can say is a bit much, but it's a scoreline they lost to Tampa Bay by.
That's
right.
true.
This is my fear. They're playing a very good team, and I mean, look, Rising lost by 2 goals in Memphis.
What do you say to the people that say Monterey beat Louisville? What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, great, good for them. Rising beat San Antonio twice. They then
don't say that, Reed. They're gonna get Braziled. Oh my god! If it's under, I don't want to be that guy, but I guess
you're gonna be that guy saying if it's under 4, it's a good result. Don't you say that? Don't you say that because it's not a good result. It is not a good result.
Any loss is not a good result. You're right.
And this is my fear, right? I think Pat is correct here. I fear that Lou City take a lead early, and that really, really puts Rising in a problem.
Yeah. No, I think Rising need to get on the board early or as fast as they can, as easy as that sounds. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty ugly. They need to have some sort of control of the game, play their way, not fall into Louisville's game plan. Otherwise, I think it's going to get pretty ugly. And on national television, nonetheless, it's not gonna be.
You know what though? I want to see people's bet slips for this game. I want you, please tweet at us. Please send them all to our Twitter account at PHNX__rising. It's double the underscores, double the what on earth is going on.
And Owen will match every single bet.
I will not. No,
you will.
I'm in Kentucky. I don't think that DraftKings works here, but I'm not sure.
Get over here to Arizona. But yeah, well, looking forward to a great game. Again, that game is on Wednesday. It's 7 p.m. Louisville time, right? So it's 4 p.m.
Yes, it's 4 o'clock. Enjoy.
Early game over here. So yeah, I gotta get some 4 peaks if I want to watch that game for sure. But yeah, 4 p.m. over here. ESPN2.
Wednesday afternoon beers.
Yep. I mean, it's typically what I do. But anyway, but yeah, looking forward to that. And again, join us for the post-game show. Hopefully, it's not going to be a somber Wednesday. We're going to have a good time on Wednesday. I have some feeling about it. Let's see. Harry says, you both have said that Rising is better than the record. Plus, if Rising gets rolled, how can Rising keep Rick? It's why I think for one game that Rising shows up. Look at Harry with that positive energy. Look at that. I appreciate that.
I just feel as though I'm not sure that it'll happen. And I don't think that you're going to see. No, you're laughing. I'm here being negative as ever. No, I don't think that Rising will win. I just feel as though the kind of reaction, the fight that you'd see for a coach, I don't think you're going to see. I just don't think that you're going to see.
Dang, look, Michael's calling me out. Blind positivity. That's true.
Blind positivity. There we go.
All right, y'all. Let's take a quick break and talk about our friends at OG's. All OG's just launched their first ever limited edition seasonal flavor. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say that's a great little segue there from your blind positivity to OG's.
That's just 180 right there. They got a new seasonal flavor, limited seasonal flavor. So you got to get it now. Pina colada, a perfect pineapple and creamy coconut blend. You guys can check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com. Can't talk. And on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary, and you must be 21 years or older to purchase. So yeah, I gotta get on the website right now. Do my weekly shopping, I guess I'll call it. But yeah, ogsbrands.com. All right.
Yeah, I was about to make a comment that I've decided not to make.
Oh man, I don't like when you say that because I know it's pretty bad. Let's see. But yeah, should be good. All right. So after OGs, let's talk about what happened this last weekend. We already talked a little bit about the Louisville-Memphis game. Any other games that caught your eye or attention, Owen?
Well, it was, of course, again, one that I mentioned in there, the Oakland against El Paso game.
Mm-hmm.
What a first half by Oakland. There's just no real words for it, is there? Like they just showed up for that game. I don't think there was a huge amount else that I really paid much. I mean, Sacramento losing to Legion, yes. Really good point for Legion. The more I watch Legion, I'm more convinced that they are a title contender, actually. They've got that kind of... I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they're the best team in this league at all, but I do feel as though there's just something about them. They're a physical team that are going to be hard to break down come playoff time. They'll be able to grind out results, and for that reason, they're that kind of look. They're not your favorite, but I feel as though they're a pick that you can't really laugh at.
Yeah, no, for sure. One that I kind of watched for a little bit this weekend on Friday was the New York Red Bulls hosting Indy 11. That Indy 11 side needs some work. Like, I don't know what happened there. Something's going on. Like, I think it's 5 straight losses now with them. So, I feel bad for Asante.
I think it's 6.
6 now. Yeah. Not regardless. It's bad. It's bad stuff going on over there, Indy. And like I said, I kind of feel bad for Solomon Asante because he's having to deal with that situation as well. Not fun. Tampa Bay Rowdies 4-1 against Loudoun here. Charleston over Hartford Athletic. San Antonio a simple 5-0 over Atlanta.
Atlanta too. Look, I'll give them credit. They got the job done, but I mean, yeah,
not good. Do you want to talk about the fact that Las Vegas only had 1 touch in their opponent's area and still won the game? I don't know if you read about that. Yeah, Las Vegas beat RGV. They literally had 1 touch in RGV's area, defensive area the entire game, and they came away with the victory. That's insane. So
it sounds like Neil Warnock style tactics right there. It's like,
I mean, that's all
you need. That's all you need.
Look at Pat. Indy is the rising of the East. That's saying a lot.
Ooh.
No, I don't think they're there yet.
No, I don't think the expectations are quite as high for them. They were high, but they weren't quite as high.
Yeah, even Dolan Rick Must Go says, Indy 11 let me down. They are lifeless. Yeah, it was rough to watch on Friday. All right, Owen.
Can we just, that is one point I will make, actually. We kind of talk about things like, that Memphis game, Louisville, wow, it was weird and that. It was actually an interesting game to watch. Like, look, we watch USL. This is what we get paid to do, really. But some of those games are just bad. Like, some of those games are not interesting. If you don't have an interest specifically in
like
it,
a stake in the game, right? Yeah.
Some of them are just flat.
Yeah.
We need to be real about this. There's a weird disparity at times in talent and weird disparity in playing styles, and just sometimes those games are dull.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's rare that you see
Sacramento, I didn't think was that great a game. At least the first half was not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta grind it through. I mean, clear example is Rising. You kind of watch some of the games and you're like, what is going on here? And at least there's some fireworks. There's maybe a push or a shove or a red card or something. But yeah, they make it interesting for sure. All right, Owen, let's take another quick break, talk about our friends at DraftKings. So tomorrow is the MLB All-Star game, so you guys can bet on the game tomorrow. I think the D-backs only have one player this year that made the All-Star game. So if you guys want to get in on the action, you guys can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use promo code PHNX and make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Yeah.
Speaking of the DraftKings Sportsbook, I feel like we need to mention the fact that clearly everyone has cottoned on to the fact that San Diego are probably going to steamroller Colorado Springs tonight. So it's now dropped to minus 155. That's in the space of about 20 minutes.
I see it as a negative, minus 125 on my end.
I got 155.
Oh, look at time. Oh, now it's 155. I refreshed. Yeah. Colorado are plus 310 and plus 350. Not looking good. Sorry, Colorado.
Hold on a minute. I'm just having a look. There's got to be something here. There's got to be one here for the real brave soul. The real brave soul who wants to win money. Of course, this is only relevant if you're listening live because this is all going to change very quickly. If you think that Colorado Springs can win this game 3-0, you can get odds of 40-1.
Big money.
Big money. High roller. Come on, someone give it a go. What have you got to lose?
I know Pat will do it.
Money.
Pat put some money on this. I'm just kidding. All right, y'all. Let's keep moving on. A couple more things we want to talk about. So before we talk about the comments from the new governor of Phoenix Rising, I do want to kind of touch on something that it didn't irk me, but it made me question what's the strategy. And I think we have a lot of overall with the club, what's going on with certain aspects of recruiting, what type of players Rising brings in. So news came out that Barca Residency Academy product, Miles Lyons, was signed to El Paso Locomotive. And I think I saw it in the chat earlier that somebody was asking about that. So Owen, what's in your experience covering Rising, what's the recruiting as far as academy products is concerned? What is Rising strategy with that? Do they really do it? I know they got their own academy, but are they looking elsewhere to bring other players in? And why is El Paso here in Casa Grande taking prospects away from Rising?
Well, for a start, to be clear, the Barca Academy does ship players out to quite a few different places. So you're not going to get all of them. Some of them are going to get away. I feel as though there is an element of just not really looking to bring youth in. I don't think there's a real amount of patience with youth and playing them. As I mentioned yesterday, I think it was on Twitter, how you have a case where they're just not, and I mean Tulsa as well, Harry here making a point. Tulsa did also bring in a kid from the Barca Academy. Look, they're just not playing kids when they don't have to. We've seen moments where these kids come in, sign academy contracts, and what happens is that they make their one appearance off the bench and then kind of disappear.
Yeah.
And look, there's no real development in that sense. Now the one exception to that could well be Niall Dunn. Of course, he's been injured for most of this season. Of course, he's some problems. That's not something.
What makes him the exception, though? So if we're talking about,
I feel as though they're taking him a little bit more seriously. He's been signed to a professional contract. The kind of implicit thing there is that he is not going to college. He is being a professional footballer now. He's been around for a lot more. He has moved to online school, so it doesn't interfere with his training and all of that.
So I feel as though research though with the Barca Academy, to your point about him wanting to be exclusively a professional player, from from what I understand with the Barca Academy, they kind of give them an option, right? To either go to college and continue playing or sign with the professional team. And, based on what they say on their website, close to 100% of them, of their products, go either way. Either they continue to play in college to get an education, or they move on to the professional ranks. So, but, we see, and I was reading here, Theo for Arizona Republic, he did a small article on that, on how come USL players can't make the jump to MLS, and he goes a little bit deep on that. But there was a tidbit where he talks about there's products such as like Diego Luna, who ended up going to El Paso and was part of the academy here in Arizona, and talent like that just being quote unquote missed, or I think they were actually brought in for a while with Rising, but they just weren't signed to any sort of contract with them. So I see that, those transfers with Diego Luna moving on to MLS and getting, that transfer fee, that's what kind of like makes me question what is going on with that. When you let a talent like that kind of slip through your fingers, with him right in the backyard, going to El Paso, and then them reaping the rewards of, I guess, of having someone like Diego Luna in their ranks.
Right, and Renee does have a point here, which is that Rising wants results now from established players. There's very little focus on youth. That's correct. That is correct. That's what we see. It's very apparent in front of us. The problem, of course, with that approach is that when you have a season like this, there is no silver lining. Okay, in a year like this where Rising was struggling, if they had a few youth players in there, you'd still have that side of, okay, it's fine, they'll come back better next year. Yeah. You don't have that with established players.
Okay.
I feel like there's not the... You've got patience for kids. Everyone has patience for kids playing to an extent. You understand. Yeah. You may not want them in the lineup, but you've got patience for them because you know that they've got to develop somehow.
Yeah, I think Pat makes a good point here as far as bringing in players. But so my point to that, then my counterpoint to that would be, then what's going on with Louisville City? You see these kids that they're bringing in, and like Jonathan Gomez, he was a big part of their club last season. You have Joshua Winder now this season being, part of the starting squad. So, and, maybe you don't want to compare Louisville to Phoenix Rising in the way that they go about things, but why aren't they able to do that? And then it's, it kind of makes you question, like, why aren't they going after these talented players that they literally have in their backyard? If it's about winning, and we see someone like Louisville City, like a team like that, continue to do it.
It was a great question, given that the two assistant coaches have got academy backgrounds. Let's be honest.
Maybe you should ask them.
The backroom staff. You've got the backroom staff there that, in theory, you should be able to integrate the youth to actually get them into the first squad, because you've got those kind of coaches in there that should be able to do that. They're academy background coaches. Okay, that's who's there. So it's hard to really explain. Mostly because there isn't really a great explanation for it at times. These guys are clearly capable of doing it. Diego Luna was very clearly a good quality player from the first we started seeing him in USL. It's not like he played a season or two in USL and then all of a sudden he was good. You could tell he was good, even if he was a little bit raw. You could tell he was very good. I don't know. And I mean, to Renee's point here about, I wonder if the success went to the club's head and the work, just putting in work and just assume they would win. I mean, that can link to another comment that's going to come shortly, isn't it?
Well, let me read you what, the article said regarding this, because it says here, 3 years ago, Rising had Caden Clark and Diego Luna in training. But because their academy at that time wasn't at the level it is today, Rick Schantz says that we weren't quite ready at the time to make those types of signings. So I can see that point of view, right? Financially, as far as the academy as well, maybe Rising at that time wasn't able to bring players like that. But when you lose players like that to other USL teams, and then they go on and get these transfers, and especially these transfer fees, right? It just, kind of makes you question, like, is there really a plan, or are they kind of just, Renee saying, are they just kind of putting in the work just because they're good and they don't really care about anything else at this time?
Well, what's worth remembering is that there's still a level of solidarity payments, training compensation, all of that kind of sticks with a player through a good chunk of their career whenever they travel overseas. So there are ways of generating money from a player for a while. going forward when they make transfers overseas. That's why
Mhm.
these investments can be big, and it's big news for people like Orange County who make them. Not only do they have the one big, payload that comes in when they offload a player, they then know that going down the line, if there are international transfers for that player, they can get a little chunk of that as well. At this level, that money goes a long way.
Yeah.
And it's why it just feels as though it's short-sighted, very
Mhm.
short-sighted, and creates situations like this season, I think, in part, whereby not only is it not going, but there's no real indication as to where you go from here.
Yeah. No, I agree. Good questions here, and hopefully we get some answers soon in regards to this. All right, Owen, let's wrap up here. There was another article that came out today, this time by one of our good friends, Jake Anderson, with Arizona Sports. So he got a chance to speak with new club governor for Phoenix Rising, Bill Kraus. And I don't know if you were able to read the article, Owen. Was there anything that kind of stood out to you in regards to some of the comments that were made?
The implication that Wild Horse Pass is Rising's future, the implication that they're going to stand by Rick. I know the chat on that last point is probably going to go off now. But hey, we're going to just say, chat, please weigh in on what you think.
So let's hit on that first one then. Rick is not leaving. That's basically what was said today. Given his,
or is it the infamous vote of confidence, as Michael says here?
Well, I get, and I think this is something that I've said before, is that I don't think he's leaving this season. They're gonna let him finish out whatever happens, and they'll kind of leave it as what it is. And I don't think they're gonna make any changes with him.
But then at the same time, what are you going to do? Because if you're deciding that if you miss the playoffs, then he's gone anyway, then you hit a point where you might as well just pull the trigger then.
Yeah.
There's no point in waiting, at that point. Yeah, I mean, the only reason why you wait until the end of the season, surely, is if you can see a point whereby he does something that's good enough that fundamentally this season you feel like you've got to keep him. I don't know. I see that some people did want, of course, a statement, and there is the one coming here from Dooley and Rick Must Go. Glad they at least spoke up. True. There were a lot of people who were wondering what was going on. It was just complete radio silence almost. Yeah. At least when someone gives a statement that you don't agree with, you can argue with it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's touch on that point about that Pat saying they might offer more resources. So when you say that,
what's that, a YouTube premium subscription for the Dominican Republic League?
Maybe. I don't know. You can watch all the games. But when you say something like that, I that kind of didn't really sit well with me, because you see the way the team is, especially during these last 10 games, and saying we may bring something in or make more resources available. It kind of makes it seem like we're kind of seeing where things go, and we might do something, and we don't really know what's going on yet. Or maybe they're assessing what's going on.
You know what I'll also say? It gives the implication again, and it's something that I have feared for some time, that there is a prioritization of Rick Schantz in that organization and not a prioritization of other elements. Okay? What that is, when you're saying that Rick can get it done, clearly something else is wrong there. You're putting the blame on the players. That's what you're doing. You're putting the blame on the players. You're saying the players aren't good enough. That's exactly what you're saying. But then, of course, Rick's the one that brought him in. So you kind of got to actually think about that one as well. But I just... There is a point whereby you say, the fans... What do they think is going to happen? Do they think the fans are just going to shut up because the owner said that, no, he's our guy? Do you think that this goes back in the box? It doesn't. These things don't go back in the box. That's where the problem is now. And it's a real problem, is that Rick has such a task cut out for him to actually get some of those people back on side that I don't think he ever will.
Yeah.
It's hard. And is it always fair? No, but that's the industry. That's the industry that they're in.
I think the phrasing might have not been the best one, because if he would have said, we're looking to see if we can bring more reinforcements in, that kind of gives the impression that, look, we're not done with the season. We're not giving up on it. We're looking to see if we can do anything else. And that kind of gives you a little bit of more hope. But when he says we may, it's like, we'll see how we're doing, and we'll see, it's, to me, at least that phrasing kind of would make me feel a little bit more better. But I don't know. It's just not good.
But it entirely depends, and it really depends on the fact that who's doing the recruitment, who's making the decisions, are they making the right decisions? It doesn't matter what resources you give someone if they, if they just waste them, it's utterly pointless.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so you've got to actually make sure that you're getting your money's worth out of this. Now, the other thing I think is worth noting, and maybe this is harsh, but outside of Didier Drogba, and I mean this now seriously, I won't question their business acumen or any of that. I think that would be completely unfair. But can you tell me genuinely what footballing knowledge they have that goes far and above beyond what the fan? What is it that makes them right and the fans wrong? Beyond the fact that they own the club. I mean, that's it's that thing whereby I think outside of Didier Drogba, there's no real deep footballing knowledge in that organization, is there? Who are the true football people in there? You know?
Yeah. No, and I agree, and you can see it in the moves, and you can see it in the statements that are given out, and I don't think it calms any of the issues that fans have.
But here's a point, and this is on Pat's comment here with McCarthy no sports. Remember, I actually think this is one of the problems. It's not Brandon McCarthy specifically. That's harsh. I'm not going to say that, but I do feel as though there is a point whereby there's a disconnect between a diehard rising fan base whose idea of what happens in sports, in this sport, is based off of what they see in other countries where there is actually a threat to being bad. Okay, there is a negative reaction. And in other countries, a coach doesn't really survive this. Okay, they wouldn't have survived to this point. Again, with the gulf between expectation and reality, they wouldn't have survived to this point.
Yeah.
I think in most clubs around the world. And yet, you've then got the other countervailing view, which is that the American kind of view whereby, does it really matter? And this kind of hands off, because at the end of the day, there's no real repercussions. In fact, let's talk about this seriously. If a team that Brandon McCarthy was on were atrocious, congratulations, they got the first draft pick next year. Like that's the reality, okay?
And fans are still coming in. They're still selling burgers. They're still selling beer. The money's there. Is the casual fan going to stop coming? No, they're going to show up.
But I don't know. I think there's a lot of other things that are also going to affect the casual fan. I do think that results do play into that as well.
Yeah.
There was a time when, and admittedly, it's not like a now thing. Okay, obviously the Suns are actually better now. There was a time when no one was winning in this valley outside of the Mercury, the Rattlers, and Rising. Okay,
2010s.
So there was a time, and that was a real selling point. Like, it was fun. The energy was fun to come and be part of a team that's winning, when instead you could go watch the D-backs or the Cardinals or the Suns just be mediocre, or the Coyotes, but no one knows where Glendale is.
Let it all out, Owen. Let it all out. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with your points there. To wrap up here, Bill Krause's comments. He did talk about Wild Horse Pass. From what he's saying, he's looking to stay for 2023 and beyond. But he also makes the point to say that they get calls pretty often about moving the team. So what do you make about that?
I mean, we kind of knew that this was a possibility. It's not a surprise based on comments that have been made in the past, especially regarding Rising's relationship with the management team down at Wild Horse Pass. I do wonder if it would be wise to seek a long-term future at Wild Horse Pass, given what has happened. I'm not sure that it's necessarily the most bright idea, because at the end of the day, we know that, look, if we're going to talk about things suddenly changing at a whim, do you really want to risk that again? Like, do you want to risk being OKC down the line? I don't know. It's just that kind of thing whereby you look at it and think, yes, Rising, do they have it better than they did at the old stadium? Yeah. Should they be hoping for more? Also, yes. But at the end of the day, is a lawn behind a giant screen the thing that really is what you have to balance up with the long-term stability of the club?
Also running water, so
and running water, but you can get running water in a lot of places. We're not talking about going back to Casino Arizona Field like that. That's there are options. They built this one in Wild Horse Pass in not exactly very long,
Yeah, no, and my point of view on that is that I feel like maybe the majority of the fans, I don't know if the chat agrees with me, would prefer for their stadium to be centrally located. I think I would appreciate that. It saves me a 30-minute drive or an hour drive if the freeway's closed. But I don't think they should stay at Wild Horse Pass. That's my comment. I do like the stadium the way it's built currently. I do appreciate the lawn and the scoreboard, but I feel like there's better options out there, and I don't think they should. Based on what I've seen in their interactions that I've read about, I think Rising would be better off elsewhere.
I'll take wins over a toilet that flushes. Thanks, Pat.
Yes, Pat. Yes, beautifully put. But yeah, if you guys want to read that article, it's Jake Anderson. You guys can follow him on Twitter. Check it out there. All right, Owen. Anything else we want to talk about today?
I feel like we've started to, and actually Renee's point here about teaming up with ASU and building up their facilities would actually be nice. It's actually a really nice location. Really nice location. Now, of course, it would take a decent amount of work, but I don't know.
Yep. For sure.
All right. I think we should. We're gonna. Should we pull the somber hour to a close?
That's it. Let's go drinking. No, I'm just kidding. What time is it? Is it like 11? Where you're at?
It is 10:23 p.m.
Early. Go to the bar downstairs or something. All right, Owen.
I think it shuts at 10.
What? Are they dry?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
No, because there's other places that are open later.
Okay.
But
All right.
shuts at 10.
Making sure. All right, y'all. So yeah, big week ahead for Rising. Play on Wednesday, play on Saturday. Owen's over there in Louisville right now. A lot of content coming your way this week, so make sure to follow us at PHNX__Rising. Also on streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Pay. Even though Spotify,
Apple Pay. Yeah, we'll take Pay.
Apple Music. What do they call it? See, I use Spotify, man. I like Spotify. Bonnie says final prediction for Wednesday's game. I'm going 3-0 Louisville. I'm not being positive with this one.
It's 4 or 5-1 in my mind.
Oof. Renee says he wants watch party for Wales versus the USA. Did you catch Gareth Bale yesterday?
I didn't actually watch it. No, I didn't. But I tell you what, I will. Unfortunately, won't be able to attend the Wales USA watch party because I may be otherwise predisposed.
Guitar. But yeah, he'll let us know what's going on. Bet at Ramon Pat. I might put it on there right now. But yeah, make sure to stay tuned. Again, PHNX__Rising. We're 20-something away followers from giving away this scarf, and that way I don't have to hang it here anymore. So make sure to follow and tell your friends about it. And also, just a little reminder, Owen, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we might be.
The scores have been coming in again.
Bonnie, come on, don't double what I said. PHNX Live from 4 Peaks Brewing Company. It's going to happen all day, July 27th. And we may be able to get me over there to 4 Peaks, right? We'll see.
I'm hearing that. I mean, if you take a look on the 4 Peaks calendar, they do list a certain watch party that night.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys want to join us over there, 4 Peaks Brewing Company, 1304 East 8th Street in Tempe. You guys can hang out with me over there. We'll watch the Rising. Is it Oakland?
Don't be positive, Renee.
Just give us hope. Renee's a good guy. All right. Appreciate that. All right, y'all. That is it for us tonight. We will be back on Wednesday after the game, and then we'll have another show Friday to preview Saturday's game. So big week. Owen, thank you as always for making the flight, enduring, all the spirits that you have to drink while you're away. I know it's tough for you.
Oh, it's very difficult. Very difficult.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you on Wednesday. Take care.